God used dreams and visions several times in the Bible to communicate with people. Numbers chapter 12, verse 6. He said, "Hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will reveal myself to him in a vision. I will speak to him in a dream." Numbers chapter 24, verse 4. The oracle of one who hears the words of God, who sees the vision of the Almighty, falling down, but having his eyes open and uncovered. Visions appear to have been common enough that their absence was felt keenly. The absence of visions was caused by a lack of prophets at times, and by the disobedience of God's people at other times. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1. Now the boy Samuel was attending to the service of the Lord under the supervision of Eli. The word of the Lord was rare and precious in those days. Visions, that is, new revelations of divine truth, were not widespread. 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 6. So Saul inquired of the Lord, but the Lord did not answer him, either by dreams or by Urim, used like lots by the priests to determine the will of God, or by prophets. Old Testament dreams and visions. In the Old Testament, God used visions to reveal his plan, further his plan, and place his people in positions of influence. Number 1. Abraham. God used a vision to remind Abram of the Abrahamic covenant, reminding him that he would have a son and be the father of many nations. Genesis chapter 15, verse 1. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward for obedience shall be very great." Number 2. Abimelech. Sarah, Abraham's wife, was stunning. So stunning that when Abraham moved to a new area, he worried that the local ruler would slay him and take Sarah for himself. Abimelech, king of Gerar, was informed by Abraham that Sarah was his sister, which was not a complete lie, as she was his half-sister. Genesis chapter 20, verses 1 to 7. Now Abraham journeyed from there toward the Negev, the south country, and settled between Kadesh and Shur. Then he lived temporarily in Gerar. Abraham said again of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." So Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah into his harem. But God came to Abimelech in a dream during the night and said, "Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken as your wife, for she is another man's wife." Now Abimelech had not yet come near her. So he said, "Lord, will you kill a people who are righteous and innocent and blameless?" regarding Sarah. "Did Abraham not tell me she is my sister? And she herself said, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this." Then God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know you did this in the integrity of your heart, for it was I who kept you back and spared you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not give you an opportunity to touch her. So now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you and you will live. But if you do not return her to him, know that you shall die, you and all who are yours, your household." Abimelech took Sarah into his harem, but God told him not to touch her because she was Abraham's wife in a dream. The next morning, the king returned Sarah to her husband. The dream had protected Sarah and safeguarded God's plan for Sarah to be the mother of his chosen people. Number 3. Jacob. Jacob stole Esau's firstborn son's inheritance with the help of his mother. Jacob then fled Esau's wrath, and while traveling, he had his famous dream of a ladder leading to heaven, on which angels ascended and descended. Genesis chapter 28, verses 10 to 17. Now Jacob left Beersheba, never to see his mother again, and traveled toward Haran. And he came to a certain place and stayed overnight there because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of the place, he put it under his head and lay down there to sleep. He dreamed that there was a ladder, stairway placed on earth, and the top of it reached out of sight toward heaven. And he saw the angels of God ascending and descending on it, going to and from heaven. And behold, the Lord stood above and around him and said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham your father's father, and the God of Isaac. I will give to you and to your descendants the land of promise, on which you are lying. Your descendants shall be as countless as the dust of the earth, and you shall have spread abroad to the west and the east, and the north and the south. And all the families or nations of the earth shall be blessed through you and your descendants. Behold, I am with you, and will keep careful watch over you and guard you, wherever you may go. And I will bring you back to this promised land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Without any doubt, the Lord is in this place, and I did not realize it. So he was afraid and said, How fearful and awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gateway to heaven. In this dream, Jacob received God's assurance that Abraham's blessing would be passed on to him. Samuel. As a young boy, Samuel had his first vision. 1 Samuel chapter 3. Now the boy Samuel was attending to the service of the Lord under the supervision of Eli. The word of the Lord was rare and precious in those days. Visions, that is, new revelations of divine truth, were not widespread. Yet it happened at that time, as Eli was lying down in his own place. Now his eyesight had begun to grow dim, and he could not see well. And the oil lamp of God had not yet gone out. And Samuel was lying down in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was, that the Lord called Samuel, and he answered, Here I am. He ran to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. But Eli said, I did not call you. Lie down again. So he went and lay down. Then the Lord called yet again, Samuel. So Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. But Eli answered, I did not call my son. Lie down again. Now Samuel did not yet know or personally experience the Lord, and the word of the Lord was not yet revealed directly to him. So the Lord called Samuel a third time, and he stood and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for you did call me. Then Eli understood that it was the Lord who was calling the boy. So Eli said to Samuel, Go, lie down, and it shall be that if he calls you, you shall say, Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. Then the Lord came and stood and called as at the previous times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for your servant is listening. The Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I am about to do a thing in Israel at which both ears of everyone who hears it will ring. On that day, I will carry out against Eli everything that I have spoken concerning his house or family, from beginning to end. Now I have told him that I am about to judge his house forever for the sinful behavior which he knew was happening, because his sons were bringing a curse on themselves, dishonoring and blaspheming God, and he did not rebuke them. Therefore I have sworn to the house of Eli that the sinful behavior of Eli's house or family shall not be atoned for by sacrifice or offering forever. So Samuel lay down until morning. Then he opened the doors of the Lord's house. But Samuel was afraid to tell the vision to Eli. But Eli called Samuel and said, "Samuel, my son." And he answered, "Here I am." Then Eli said, "What is it that he said to you? Please, do not hide it from me. May God do the same to you and more also, if you hide from me anything of all that he said to you." So Samuel told him everything, hiding nothing from him. And Eli said, "It is the Lord. May he do what seems good to him." Now Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and he let none of his words fail to be fulfilled. And all Israel, from Dan in the north to Beersheba in the south, knew that Samuel was appointed as a prophet of the Lord. And the Lord continued to appear in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. God foretold that the sons of Samuel's mentor Eli would face judgment. The young Samuel was faithful in relaying the information, and God spoke to Samuel for the rest of his life.